Hello, and welcome to today's installment of Created for More, the podcast. Super excited to be here today with our very first guest of the year. Just hold on. Once you hear who it is, I'm sure you'll be mega pleased. Okay, so today I have got the amazing. I always say amazing. I need to look for another adjective, but I've got Jimi Tewe in the house, and Jimi is a transformational specialist, and he's the CEO of Jimi Tewe LLC, a transformational services company operating out of Atlanta, Georgia. Through consulting, coaching, and teaching, Jimi provides a range of generic and bespoke solutions that cater to the needs of his diverse audience. He leverages his experience with working with global institutions such as Accenture and working at senior executive levels in the financial industry. Jimi is able to deliver interventions that help to build culture, gain clarity, and deliver exponential results. Jimi, you're super welcome. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Thank you. I'm going to get you to introduce yourself in a minute, but I just want to kind of set the scene for why I thought that you would be, a phenomenal guest to start the year with. One of the things I love about your brand, Jimi, is what you stand for and how you're able to just really catalyze people just by speaking. You speak with so much power. I can tell that you have experienced everything you tell people to do, and it comes from your core. And I love how passionate you are about just catalysis, getting people to, become exponential. And you talk about this thing all the time. And every time I listen to your message, I was at your conference in London, and it was just an electric. And I just want to say, look, you're doing a lot for the people. I want to let you know that I am one of the beneficiaries, and I get to be blessed when you speak. And I just want to appreciate you on behalf of all of us who get to enjoy your content. I want to say God bless you, sir, for what you do, and may God just continue to replenish you in many ways, exponential ways. So I want you to introduce yourself. Tell us, who is Jimi Tewe in your own words? Beyond the script I've just read. Who are you?
All right, thank you, Tombra. And once again, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2022, a year of big results.
I told you. Sure, you people said that.
So we'll get to that in a minute, all right? So very simply put, I'm an experience. That's what I've come to, just, in defining myself. Because it's easy to put up titles and all that, but I'm an inspirational experience, and I'm comfortable enough to say that. But I'm that one that doesn't just inspire you, but actually can walk you through towards transformation. So when I talk about being a transformational specialist, my desire is that who you become is not relatable to, the you that I met. And I've found this happen with individuals. I've seen this happen with organizations, and hopefully one day I'm hoping that we could do it with nations also. That's my bigger goal and all that. Because the reason why I say transformation is a very high degree of change. I think, sometimes change is not enough. Sometimes you have an employee and you tell, maybe they can perform better, and then you tell them, can you change? And then they change a little. Did they change? Yes. But if they transform, you're like, what happened to you? Where have you been? That's what people are really looking for. So the world is not always impressed with change, but the world can never ignore transformation. So my own assignment is essentially helping people, helping individuals experience transformation. And so this has led me to, through various personal experiences, business experiences, experience as a working employee, that has basically shaped my methodology in terms of how I do what I do. So that's why I'm an experience. I'll stop there.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So I want to track back, and where I would like to start from today is, I want to just kind of see, how did you get to become the Jimi Tewe that we know today? So who were you as a child? Where did this, have you always had that vision? Have you always had that, as they will say when you're a child, you have big eyes. Have you always, have you always had that vision, or who were you as a child, and what was that path to you becoming the person that we see today?
It's interesting that you asked that question, because who I was as a child is 100% at variance with who I am right now. As a child, I was very withdrawn. I was absolutely quiet. I was extremely shy.
Oh, wow.
And so I remember one of my mom's friends. So my mom, I was speaking to her, and she was like, "Oh, this woman is in my store. She wants to speak to you." So she says, "Jimmy, I heard that you are speaking now. And is it my Jimmy that does not talk?" Just to give you an idea. Yeah, just to give you an idea. So that's how I was until the year I was going to graduate from the university. And I had an experience with spiritual, but that was where I came into a consciousness of what we call purpose today, what we call finding a meaning for life. That's the first time that I actually believed that I believed in my uniqueness, I believed in my assignment, and the confidence and boldness that came from there totally transformed me. And I've been running now. That experience was in 2001, 21 years ago by April this year. That's when that experience. So what people know now as Jimi Tewe, or ever since 2001 when that happened. Because when it happened, I remember my first event. I actually organized an event, and to give an idea, the poster, the flyer for it, I put the speakers up, but I didn't put my own. That's how shy I was still shy. And I remember my dad asking me, he said, "I chose your program. Where's your picture? They're using your head, and I could understand, why he said that. But that just gives an idea. So it took me a while to evolve. And the thing I find out is that I'm still evolving. Why? Because I'll be frank with you that I have moments where, like Jesus that says, "Who do men say I am?" Some days I feel like Jeremiah, some days I feel like Elijah. But once in a while, you have that experience that reminds you that you are a Messiah in a particular sphere. And as long as I hold on to that identity, that's more that I flourish in life. So that's
I love that. I love that. I love that. I want to talk about that process of catalysis, because what happened to you in 2021, and this is very important for someone listening to this, someone listening to us now, is Jimi of 2000, and they're wondering, like, what happened?
So breaking it down, because I could share this in a spiritual, religious way, and I'm not taking away from that. Just to enhance understanding, is that experience that I had with God established a definiteness around my identity.
Okay.
Yes. When I teach transformation today, I realize that whether it's individuals, organizations, as long as you are acting outside of who you are, you would struggle. But if you are able to act from who you are, that's how life is going to be. So I teach it, I call it living from the inside out. It's very easy in a world where there's so many opportunities and all that to try to be everything to all people, but you will never be as effective. The people that we celebrate today, one thing that we know about them is called authenticity. And authenticity is where your external image or your public image is not at variance with your internal image. Everybody carries an inner image. So when I work with companies, for example, one of the companies I worked with, and for a while I didn't do a lot of things with companies because I wanted to understand the individual dimension. I think I've done that now. So we're shifting a lot more to the corporate space now. But I did one with a company, and the CEO calls me and says to me, "Jimmy, my staff, we did not meet the budget for last year. In fact, we did less than 50% of the budget. Now the board has doubled the budget for the new year. So we didn't do 50%. Now we want to do double and all that. Please come and do a 3-day training for me and my staff." And I said, "No, I can't do a training because a training is not going to help you. The issue has depth, the roots. It has roots in it. So I said, this is what we're going to do. And I'm glad she obliged. I said, I'm going to coach you for a few months. We did 9 months. And we would spend 90 minutes twice a month. And I would never hold that meeting without the CEO there. And ask me what the conversations were about. They were about what they stand for, who they were, their vision, their values. They finished that year. Not only did they meet the new target, they crossed it.
Oh, wow.
Yes. You see, because a lot of times the focus is on what to do. But what people don't realize, excuse me, is that what you do emanates from who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So if who you are, there is a bit of weakness there, it will manifest in what you do. And so that's what I mean by that, So in terms of that, so whenever people, so what happened to me is that I came into a consciousness that God sent me to this world. And at that time, it was basically, I came into an awareness that I was going to set up a business school at a point in time in the future. And I was reading the Bible and I saw something, had an experience in that regard and all that. But I came into that consciousness. So I was not like, people need me. I could see my value. I came into an awareness. I'm actually valuable, that if I don't manifest who I am, this world will be in a deficit. That's one of the key things that I actually used to try to drive, When it's an organization, it's not just making money, it's adding value. If you keep adding value, you make money. If you keep trying to chase making money, you would have ups and downs, many of them, along the path and along the way. So back to what you were speaking about, what happened to me. First was a consciousness of who I am, identity. That identity began to influence my thinking and the kind of thoughts that I allowed to stay in my mind. So any thoughts that were at variance with my identity, I did not permit to stay in my mind. Do you get my point? Then from the thoughts, I realized it affected my emotions, all right, which is the third dimension, all right? And then for the emotions, it now determined my doing. So your being affects your thinking, your feeling, then your doing. I call it the manifestation model, and that's what I basically used to teach. And I find out that it works irrespective of who. I still had a coaching session yesterday with somebody in another country, used the same model, and what the person has not found herself doing for over a year, she did it in one day. So it works every time. But it takes a bit of skill because people have to introspect. And that's a weakness we have in our educational system. We teach so much on the outside, people don't understand who they are inside. They're struggling in the world, trying to understand, why am I, I'm not motivated. I would say I want to start something 2 weeks after, I'm not doing it again. Because you don't understand the way that you work, and all those kind of things. So that basically is how transformation really happens, whether it's an individual, whether it's an organization. Do you get my point? And then once you can get clarity about your identity, you kind of like get clarity in what I call your inheritance. What I mean by that is what is due to you because of who you are. And so you are able to go for that, So I'm in America right now. I moved here mid last year and all that. And I know people, as I was coming, people are like, oh, you're coming to America? Jimmy, things are not the way they are. You have to be ready. And I can understand that concern, and all those kind of things. And then they said, so what do you want to come and do? I said, I want to come and be Jimi Tewe in America. I'm not trying to be somebody else. And they're like, are you sure to work? But they don't know the work I've done. And what have I been doing in the last 6 months? I've been Jimi Tewe running my conferences. And people are like, you just came now? You've already done 3 conferences. How? No, I'm not trying to do 3 conferences. I am being who I am. This year, I told somebody we're doing 8 conferences in America. They said, how? I said, by being Jimi Tewe. If you are Jimi Tewe, it's not difficult to do. Maybe somebody else. But for me, we'll get it done. And we'll do it very well.
So powerful. I love it. So just by being, you do.
That's why we are called human beings. That's why we're called human beings. When you ask people, who are you? They define themselves as human doings. They say, I'm a banker, I'm a farmer, I'm a tailor. But that's a human doing. Human being, who are you? It's a deeper question that we might get to as we have a conversation today.
I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Jimmy, I want to ask you a question, right? So, what does it mean to go exponential?
I mean, first thing I always ask people to do is go to Google. All right. In the days and times we're living now, you don't need to think twice about minutes. If you go to Google and all
Mm,
that, it basically one of the I like images also. So if you type exponential, I went to Google Images, you would see a graph. That's what you would see. And in
mm,
the graph, you would see a progression. And it's a bit upward, but at a point there's a big inflection that takes
mm,
the graph up. So exponential is that thing that happens to you at the point of inflection.
mm,
Yes, because you see, usually if you kept going in the usual trajectory and you kept moving on, that's fine. That's not bad. All right. But when there is some significant change, then we need to check. And that's what people don't do. A lot of us have had significant changes in our career, significant changes in our business, but we never gone back to say what happened in that season. Because
mm,
if I can know the elements that came together in that season, and I and understand that all success is principle based, that if I implement those principles intentionally, I will keep having exponential experiences. That's the
mm,
fact about it. So
mm,
exponential basically is having outstanding results. I said 2022 is a year of big results. That's exponential.
mm.
Exponential is that Jimi Tewe came to America in 2021, and in 2022, Jimmy, you're all over. That's exponential. Exponential is that somebody sets up a business this year and crosses $1 million mark. Exponential is that you are a regular guy. I know somebody that is one of my new friends. He was a regular guy and he said to himself, I can't remain here. He was a sales manager. He had a nice six-figure job in a nice company. And he said, no. And he did the same thing. His identity, his thinking, his emotions, and his actions. He worked on it in 1 year. Today, is the chief of staff to the next in line to the CEO of one of the top global businesses in the world. I'm not talking about Nigeria, global. In 1 year, he said it took him just 1 year. You see, that's the key. Success has principles that back it, and it will obey you whoever you are.
Whether
And
you
so
are
the
in
key thing
church,
is
whether you are in whoever you
exactly.
are.
Exactly. So it's about knowing these things, and that's what we're trying to teach. But that's why I love what you do in the podcast and I like what you said. You wanted to get to a point where you wanted people to be able to teach what they did, because a lot of times we're
Mm,
inspired by what they have, but we
mm,
don't understand what they did, and so we're just
mm,
inspired to expire. So we're trying to
mm.
change that now.
I love that. I love that. And what is that responsibility that we all have? If somebody is saying to you, but Jimmy, I'm okay now.
Yeah.
Why do I have to go exponential? Ashay,
I
I'm
love it.
okay. I pay my bills. My family is fine.
I
I'm
love
just
it.
okay. Why?
You you
Why?
you would understand this more because you're in London or the UK, and I'm here in America. So I think that we both understand what this is. Because
Mm,
again, I meet a lot of people here in America who are comfortable. I mean, once you start earning six digits,
mm,
$150,000 per
mm,
annum, you have two brand new cars, you and your
mhm,
spouse, you live in your house. It's a mortgage,
mhm,
but it's your house. You
mhm,
can go on vacation. When you
mhm,
go to Nigeria, they almost give you a chieftaincy. You are doing well. But you see, it is about perspective. I ask people, is this all that you can be? Is this
mm,
all that you want to do? And many people come and tell me that, Jimmy, I love what I have, I'm grateful for what I have, but I am more than this. This is what is
mm,
there. They tell me that I'm more than this 3 years ago. 2 years ago, they told me. Last year, they told me. But that's the thing. Until you do something intentionally, you will never step into more. And that is where exponential lies. Exponential does not lie in the zone of comfort. It lies in the zone of sacrifice, where you decide that you are not going to just be, that you are going to be all that you are meant to be. Not many people are willing to pay the price for sacrifice. That's why we don't think, oh, I want to be exponential. But for those that want to be, there's an exponential life that is waiting for them for the taking.
mm. I love that. When you say that it is for those who want to sacrifice, that's
Yep.
such a powerful statement. Do you want to break that down a little bit?
Every great thing, one of my mentors says that, everybody has a shot at leadership, but everybody doesn't want to pay the price of leadership, because leadership is essentially sacrifice. Go and check it. The stories that inspire us, what inspired us will not necessarily always the result, But it's a sacrifice. Somebody comes and tells you, well, my mother was the queen of Birmingham, and so I'm worth £1 million. You don't feel anyhow. When you tell me I was a pauper that I was in Peckham, and today I run a billion pound business, you're like, I need to hear your story, because what actually caught your attention was the sacrifice. You see, sacrifice is, I studied agriculture in school, and we always tell people that every seed must die first before it leaves. That the thing that is inside the seed cannot come out except through death. So look at me now. People are like, oh, Jimi Tewe, Jimi Tewe. But this Jimi Tewe, as at the age of 29, I became a senior manager in the banking industry in Nigeria. I got a mortgage in Nigeria at 4% per annum. That's beautiful. I had brand new cars. I drove a brand new car. My wife drove a brand new car. I was earning almost £1 million per month as take home, aside other benefits, but I felt empty in my soul. And then in 2010, I made the weirdest move. I left everything and started all over again. So the sacrifice. Look, if I didn't make that sacrifice, I would not be on your podcast today. That was 11 years ago. And now, listen to me, I'll probably be still maybe in the banking sector in Nigeria. I'll be maybe head of HR for something. I will be okay. But I didn't come here to compare myself with others. I came to be all that I'm meant to be. So I realized that not everybody wants this life. So that's the other thing I'm not doing in 2022. I'm not trying to get everybody on board. No. I want to find those that are ready. Because you see, I teach, and I think I did that last week. I was teaching about approaches to life. And generally, there are 3 approaches I find people have to life. Most people have a survival mindset. So the idea of I have a car, I have a house, and it's basic. It's survival. You are just saying to me, I'm risen above problem. And life is not just about rising above problems. It's about solving problems. So there's one dimension of people that want to just survive. The next level of people are the people that just want to compete. Oh, I'm better than Tom Bra. Tom Bra has podcast, 10,000 followers. Me, I have 100,000 followers. And the problem with that is that it emanates from a scarcity mindset. Ultimately, you will make mistakes. Ultimately, you're going to lose the battle even if you need to win little wars. But the highest level or approach to life is the approach of significance. That was what Jesus was trying to talk about. So when it says things like seeking the kingdom of God and righteousness, it was speaking about a significant life that is above the mundane. But I will tell you, not everybody wants to, because it said, and I'll break it, and it said, except a man be born again. To be born again means to die, to be born again. So it says, except you are willing to die and sacrifice, you can't see this other new dimension of significance. So that's the thing that is there. So my focus right now is to look for people that want to die so that they can live. If you want to die to live, and your guy will do a great job.
I love it. Oh my God. That's a mic drop moment. If we're looking for people that want to die.
Yeah, so they can live. Yeah, because he said he that will keep his life will lose it. And he that will lose his life is one that will gain it. Yes.
Except a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies.
So there's a lot of people that are alone, but they're alone wearing luxury, and that's fine. If that's how they want, and I found out that God loves us all. If you want to just do competition zone, you can have a life. If you want to do survival, you can have a life. If you want to do significance, you can. It's your choice ultimately what you want to do with your life.
I love it. I love it. Jimmy, I want you to talk to us about 2022. I want you to talk to us about 2022. What can 2022 be?
So I would say it up front because I've been speaking about it, so typically towards the end of the year, I begin to, think through, read through, and pray through, because I also realize that I have an assignment, not just, in helping people, but to give a bit of direction broadly so that people have where they can start from. So every year since 2019, I'll typically get like a view of the new year, and sometimes with some instructions. And I've been doing that now, and that's part of what I talk about in Exponential. And in preparing for 2022, in doing all of this, the word that came to me is that 2022 is the year for big results. And I said, why? And he said to me, because the world is going to shift to accommodate a bigger version of you. He said to me that there's going to be disruptive occurrences that's going to happen. And he said they're not all going to be bad. Some of them being disruptive means that it'll be David rising up to Goliath. But he said this is the key thing that is there. He said those things will occur, but it's only those that are positioned that will optimize them. Now, the positioning, interestingly, for each person is the inspiration that's in their hearts. If you keep this is because it says that there's a spirit in man, it calls it the inspiration of the Almighty, that makes men know what to do. So what God does is that God is inspiring you into a position to optimize some things that are going to happen. If you neglect your inspiration, that is part of what it means to quench the spirit. If you neglect it, what is going to happen is that you are going to neglect your opportunity or your positioning. That's what is actually going to happen. So when I meet people, one of the things I love to ask them is, what does your heart want to do beyond what your hand has found to do? Yes, because he has set eternity in their heart. So your hand is handling today. Your heart is what knows tomorrow. So, and then when I get them into this comfortable situation and I listen to them, they begin to share dreams that only God can deliver. And when I hear it, I'm always happy. I'm excited. But the challenge is that many times the head gets in the way. How
shall these things be?
Exactly. That's the thing. And the same thing, it says that the Spirit of God is going to come upon you. And that's why you have to operate in the domain of faith. I was speaking to one of my mentors, you know him, Dr. Samadi, this morning, and he said, you see, the thing about the work we do is that we're going to have to run blind many times. We're going to run with what we are seeing inside, not based on what we are seeing outside. Yes. And he said,
people understand it.
They can't. That's why I said this life is not for everybody. So I want to have mercy on people. Only dead people are allowed. Every other person is leave me alone.
I love it.
Yes, so that's the thing that is there. So I mean, all this ties together. So 2022 is going to accommodate. And what I mean by that is that there are going to be policy changes. I was speaking to somebody in the UK. I can tell you, I'm not going to say it because it's a podcast. I know something that's going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years, and it's going to. Brexit was level 1. This next thing that's going to happen in London or in the UK is going to shift a lot of things. I can't say it. All right, it's going to shift things, but when it happens, or before it happens, some people will be positioned so that when it happens, it will be like exponential. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So if you notice, there's an awakening in the UK now. So you're finding, and it started from 2020, where because the world shut in and everybody got less busy as it were, there was the opportunity to listen to voices from across the world. So if you look at it, after COVID, a lot of people stood up to start doing something about what they really want to do. It's a positioning, including yourself. Exactly. Yes. So I'm telling you, it's a coordinated strategy. That other thing that is going to happen, I can tell you about that later, all right? That is going to happen will shift the UK into a more liberal economy, all right? Because currently, for example, like in the UK, there's a very thick glass ceiling. I think the glass ceiling in the UK is thicker than the US. I think so. Yeah, yes, exactly. So it's going to become thinner. And so some people will be able to break through into some spaces that hitherto only a certain category of people have been able to break into. But guess those people, they are the Davids at the backside of the desert that are doing what they are meant to be doing per time.
I love that.
That's what 2022 is going to look like.
I love that. That is so powerful. Jimmy, I just want you to drop an encouragement for somebody who isn't as supercharged as other people. Someone who is coming to 2022 and they can't see what you're saying. They hear you, but they cannot see you. What are some things that they must do very quickly? They are not getting to that point where we're talking about dead people. They are not there. They're just in this, like, they feel like they rolled into 2022.
Yeah.
They didn't step into there. They were just pushed into
Yeah.
the air. I
Okay.
want you to speak to them.
I'll share 3 quick strategies that I think can help. And each one has its price. Yes. First, we must understand the law of success. It's called the law of cause and effect. That every effect must have a cause. Nothing happens by happenstance. There must be a cause. So, what we are looking for, I want clarity. I want to know what to do. I want to have the courage, and all that is an effect, but there must be a cause to it. So, the first thing that I'm going to share as a strategy is vision. And what I mean by that, you said they can't see it. And we must understand that, this vision we're talking about is not just the physical side. It is a place where in your heart, you see a realm of possibility so much that you can actually see where you are, from where you are to that realm, and you're like, I want that thing. So allow me. So Jesus was teaching a parable one day. I said a man found a field, and then he saw a pearl in that field, and he sold all he had and bought that field. Listen to me. The power of vision is not just a nice sounding statement on the frame on the wall. It is when you experience what I experienced in 2001. So stage one, how do you do that? Ask God. It sounds religious. It's not. It's spiritual. There are 2 different things. Clearly ask God, because in my humble ignorance, I said, God, I'm about to graduate from school. I don't know the future, but you know it. Can you show me? That's what I asked. And then I added introspection to that. Introspection is that you must understand that the deep things happen in deep places. And let me break that down. Quietness is one of the keys to hearing. I can be shouting something to Tombra, and we're in a huge crowd. She can see my mouth moving, but she can't hear me. But if the place was quiet, she would hear me crystal clear. Life is noisy, as it were. So I tell executives sometimes, I say, you know what, when I go on vacation next time, they tell me, well, I have a vacation, I still have 7 days left. I say, okay, you know what, go to London. But 3 days out of that, please, I don't want to see you at Elephant and Cross. I don't want to see you at Piccadilly, whatever. I don't want to see you at Trafalgar Square. I want to go to, what's this place?
Ashburnham.
Correct. Yeah. Just sit down, turn your phone off, and be there for 3 days. And when you are going there, ask God and say, see, I'm not coming because I don't have anything to do. I want to talk to you. Can you speak to me about this area? So listen to me if you're listening to this. We have to begin to talk about these things, because some say, I know that sounds like religious. It's not religious. You are a spiritual person, and the word spiritual means unseen. Do you get my point? Yeah. So there are depths in that. So ask him and all that, and then I'll tell you what's going to begin to happen as you posture for that in quietness, in focus. So the next thing is, in trying to get vision, is information. Information. Take books that basically are in alignment with what the confusion. Okay, when I tell you, I say, okay, what do you want to do? Say, I don't know. I say, okay, you don't know. What do you think? Okay, I'll ask you, do you want to go to the moon? You say, no, I'm not going. Very confidently. I say, at least you know one thing you don't want to do. So what I find, Tombra, people know what they don't want. They don't know what they want. Yes. So I ask them, what do you want? And then they tell me, in reality, I've always wanted to help young boys. Then they tell me their story. And this is a senior person, an executive in an organization. And that's that dimension. They tell me their own story, how they rose through the cracks and all those kind of things that today, but they see young boys on the road. And I'm like, so what are you going to do to the one boy this year, to 2 boys, to 10 boys? And then they're like, you know what? I can actually do something. Okay, I will start in my church. And that's how it starts. And that's how you begin in that space. So it's introspection and all that. That now gives you, now let me say what vision is. Vision means see. What are you seeing? And many times we see when we just focus. Now, let me say, add this one thing. A lot of people don't see in Africa because many times they want to see something spectacular. And people don't understand that God can show you a big vision in an instance, and sometimes you will never see anything. That the only scene you will see is what you are seeing in your heart. What are you seeing? What are the ideas and thoughts you would like to start from there? I tell you, a bad vision is better than no vision. So start with vision. Yes, I'm telling you, a bad vision. He said, I see men as trees. At least you have some progress. You will avoid the trees. So even if you start with trees, that's fine. But many times as you make progress, there's clarity. The next thing, like I said, is information. I don't know what to do. Buy a book. Does Tumblr have a book around this? Go and read it. Yesterday, somebody sent me a message. Look at the book my husband is reading. It was a book I wrote some years ago called The Purpose Book. And I know people that read that book, and in there, just one page makes a difference. And because of time, the last one, what should you do is association. The cold piece of charcoal that spends enough time with the fired ones will catch fire too.
Yes. Please say that again. Please say that again. Say that again.
The cold piece of charcoal that is black, that spends enough time with the ones that are fired up, will catch fire too. It is a principle in physics. It's called the principle of resonance. That if a string is vibrating, that it will bring a steel string close to it. After a while, it will vibrate at the exact same frequency as the other one. I'm telling you, you want to catch vision, spend time with visionary people. You will see something.
You will see something. You will see something. They say you are the average of the 5 people. That's what Jim Rohn said. You're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So think about your collaboration. I talked about it on the podcast last week, actually.
Beautiful.
That is very good. And then as we wrap up, I want to just ask this question. How should people set their goals this year? Being the first, as one of the first contributors to the podcast, people are thinking about the year. We have talked about the fact that you need to have vision, you need to surround yourself with good people, all of that. But let's bring that back down to tangibility now. We know that this is going to be a year of exponential results. How should we set our goals?
Make it simple. That's the first principle around it. What 2-3 things must you achieve this year? Because I think sometimes people borrow goals. You hear so much about everybody losing weight you want to lose weight. Maybe you don't need to. Maybe you really don't. Maybe losing weight should be next year for you. Honestly, as long as you're healthy, maybe you shouldn't stress yourself too much about it. So you want to find 2-3 key areas you want to get results in the year. The next thing you want to do is you want to define what it means. When I speak to business owners, the big thing they tell me that this year my business must change. What does that mean? I don't care. What does that mean in numbers? You must move from 60 million naira to 600 million naira. Oh, I can work with that. Not just that God will increase me, because if you go to 65 million, that's increase. But that's not what you want. What do you want? There has to be clarity in those dimensions. Define it. On my wall, in my office, I have an office in my bedroom, I have another office and all that. But the one in my bedroom, I have my goals written out. I know where I'm going to be. I know I'm going to be in London in June. I know I'm going to be in California in October. I know I'm going to be in Maryland in September. I know I'm going to be in Houston and Dallas in July. I know I'm going to be in Chicago in May. I'm telling you, I've defined the year already. We are not trying to lead it. We are just going to play on the outside what we have defined on the inside. Goal setting is not just about a nice document. It is clarity that has tangibility in your calendar. Yes, that's how. So you have to set those things. Then the other part to it is this: that in goal setting, you now begin to look at the dimension of implementation. And what does that mean? I have goals this year I cannot do by myself. I have 8 conferences in America. There's no way I'll do it by myself. So last year, I decided to create a structure. So I have an advisory board for Exponential conferences. I have a team of 9 people who are professionals in different areas who have accepted to work with me. And right now, they are pushing every day. So I'm not running alone. So when I say we're going to do 8 conferences, I'm not speaking about me alone. I'm talking about we. There's a team that is required. Who is your team for the new year? I reached out to somebody and I said, I wanted him to coach me for the year. He's charging me $30,000. I'm praying about it. Lord, help your son. Yeah? But One of the people I need on my team is somebody above me.
I love that. Say that again. Say that again.
One of the people I need on my team is somebody above me. No Premiership team goes to the championship without a coach. It's not possible. So where do you want to play? I mean, the local leagues can come together and play a match. I'm here to win. And there's nobody. Look, I used to work in Accenture before. Many times companies say we want to move to the next level. They bring in a consultant. So if Tombra is your consultant for the year, then get on board to make it happen. That is how people that want to set goals. So my big thing is that it's no longer goal setting, it's goal getting. Because they set it, January, set. December has come. And all they did was set goal. Meanwhile, somebody had one goal and he got it. I like that guy.
You like that guy? I love it. And in my final question to you, Jimmy, I want to ask you around what is that responsibility that we all have to bring other people up? Right?
I've touched on a very powerful concept. It is a kingdom concept. It's actually the heart of what we should be doing. Anything, Miles Moore will say, and there's no success without a successor. We are too, particularly in Africa, we are too primed to celebrate success and not successors, or anything that has succession. Yeah. Meanwhile, you will find that there are businesses that have been around for 300 years. That is success. Meanwhile, a business ran for 18 years, the founder died, and the business ended. That is not success. So one of the key things that I like to, speak about, where this is concerned, is that people need to begin to say, who are you going to raise this year? Exponential, we have a goal by 2025 to raise 2,000 corporate executives and millionaire business owners in America by 2025. That's why I'm doing my conferences. I have a methodology, there's a system we're creating to ensure that that is done. Because the idea behind this is this, that I realize, because, think about our dear nation, Nigeria. We're trying to, election is coming. Our hope is usually hinged around election, but I realize that there's a higher dimension of living this thing. Every organization is a colony of God's kingdom that can raise leaders. As a CEO, you shouldn't just measure financials, you should measure how many leaders you create. Your success in the future is like, if there's nobody that can take over your business and grow, that means you are a slave to your business. When you go to work, the business doesn't work, then you are not going to go far. So one of the things I'm looking forward to do now, by 50, I don't want to be doing all these conferences. I want the conferences to run whether I'm there or not. There's so many things we can say about this, but let me just try to summarize that. It's the fact that, everybody does have a responsibility to raise the next generation. We should stop complaining. Oh, these people, they are this, that. No, they are just reflecting the lack of mentorship. That's why he said to us to go and make disciples. That's what he asked us to do. The disciple is somebody that has seen the model and picks the culture from that model and is able to replicate it across board. That's what we're actually meant to be doing.
I love it. What does the phrase "be more, do more, have more" mean to you?
If you look at part of what I do, that's what is there. It's the model for life. It's the order. It's the order, because our generation is big on having. But what we have found out is that those that really have, it started with being. And then the middle part is very critical, because we also have people that want to have without doing. They want to be and have. No. Being is critical, then the discipline of hard work is critical. But when you combine the two, you will have.
Thank you so much. I want you to close us out. Whatever is on your heart, you've been a fantastic guest tonight, and we appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the show. Please close us out. Whatever is on your heart, sir.
Well, look at it. Tombra has sacrificed her time. Tombra has followed up on me to ensure that I come on board for a period of time, and I'm happy we're doing this. The sad part if you hear all of this and do nothing.
Mm.
That is called a wasted seed. But I have some strange confidence that this podcast and many more that you'll be getting from Tombra will become the activation you need. Listen to me. You have only one life to live. You're not a series. You are not season 1, season 2. It is one season and it's over. Let's have the best movie possible with you as the main actor. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.